anybody has compassion for the challenges that folks face when they stand up here to present, I do. Because it's what I do day in and day out, is help people stand up and talk to people. So if I'm not here to help people give presentations, what am I trying to do? At the end of the day, our job as communicators is to connect with people, to bring who we fully are as human beings, to become fully present, and to connect with people and to create change. Margarita, whom I've known for a long time, she's sitting over there in the corner, who is hosting this incredibly important event. And we've known each other for a long time. She brought me in ostensibly to talk to you for a few minutes. I think she also wanted me to do a little bit of coaching while I was here, and I was really delighted to do that, to give a little bit of feedback and a little bit of coaching to the folks who are coming up here to talk. But let me create a different perspective for you around what's going to happen today. Because you will hear a lot of people talk, and you'll hear people give talks, and you'll hear people make presentations, but that's not the point of the day. The point of the day is that we are going to come together in a very particular way, and we're going to share important parts of ourselves, share our hearts in ways that create change. So we have this extraordinary opportunity today. And these TED conferences are phenomenal opportunities to bring people together in ways that create change. So what was the change that I was trying to help these presenters? I'll stop doing the quotes after a while. What was the change that I was brought in to help these presenters to create? Folks, we have an opportunity right here today to literally create peace. We don't have to just talk about it. We can actually create peace as we come together and as we share ideas and as we're out in the breakout room talking to each other and exchanging business cards and getting involved in each other's projects. And that's what I want to talk to you about a little bit today. So the folks who stand up here, they're going to talk to you. They're going to give some talks, but again, the talks aren't the point. The point is, can we come together in a fundamental way, in a way that allows us to create change? I'm not using PowerPoint, so I have to lean over here and turn my page over. Now, the good news ought to be for people who are standing up here, what I'm doing today, is that if you're here, you're curious about peace, or you're committed to the process of advancing the role of peace, and that ought to make it easy. That ought to mean that we're not nervous before we get up here. We ought to be completely calm and cool and comfortable because we're preaching to the choir, right? You guys were all on the same side here, unless we've got some lurking orange dealers, and I didn't know they were on the invitation list, but if they are, they're welcome. So this ought to make it easier for us, but the truth is, in some ways, at least for me, I can tell you, it's actually made it harder because what we're talking about is so important. And we're supposed to be talking about this intersection between innovation, whether it's technology or personal, in a way that advances peace. And I want to propose to you that one of, if not the most powerful innovation towards advancing peace is the technology, if you will, the technology of the human heart. And our ability to bring our heart to these opportunities as communicators, to share that heart, to literally encourage each other. But it's scary because it requires us to be fully present if we're going to be able to really connect with somebody else. In fact, this technology of the human heart, probably older than this, but sort of the earliest documentation dates back about 2,600 years, and what's known as Enlightenment thinking is kind of where this idea of the honing and developing of the human heart and the human mind suggests that peace, and by the way, that's what Enlightenment thinking is all about. It's literally about reducing suffering and helping to create peace, one person at a time. So the idea in Enlightenment thinking is you work towards enlightenment, and as you approach enlightenment, even if you're just one day in, you are in a position to help other people along the path. And the good news is you don't have to be fully enlightened to make that happen. There's this great author, a guy named Robert Thurman, who wrote a great book called The Inner Revolution. You ever come across that? There was this great quote near the end of the book, and I think it was almost, he wrote this to encourage me. He said, look, if you want to be enlightened, but you don't feel enlightened, just act enlightened, and enlightenment will follow. And I think part of what that means is we don't have to be perfectly enlightened in order to be a part of each other's process, which is a really good thing. Because unless we start seeing pop and assuming into pure light and energy, we've all got a little bit of work to do. But we can absolutely be a part of each other's process as we go along the path together. So how does this relate? How does this relate to communication? How does this relate to the way we connect with each other? Ladies and gentlemen, being present, which is a big part of that whole enlightenment thinking, being fully present, and being mindful, and being literally in your body as we're talking to each other and we're with each other, it's hard. I mean, it's hard. She's nodding. Yeah, it's hard. You try it. You try being up here. Try being under this kind of pressure, talking about something that's this important. And you're supposed to be right here. We're not supposed to be thinking about the calendar. We're not supposed to be thinking about whether the kids got lunch today. Kids get lunch today. We're supposed to be right here, fully sharing ourselves with each other. So, what's this idea about how does communication relate to all of that? Here's what happens to us. Because we're not comfortable being fully present, we're not comfortable being fully mindful and in the moment and with each other, we literally, because we're not comfortable with it and because it's demanded of us in these situations, we get fearful. We have fear and habits that come from fear. Literally, we develop calluses. We develop habits that are there to protect us. At least it feels like they're there to protect us. How do we protect ourselves up here? Oh, that's me. I didn't even know that was up there. One of the things we do as communicators to protect ourselves is, and again, folks, I have so much compassion for folks who've worked so hard to put together these PowerPoint presentations. This is not a personal assault, I promise. But one of the things that we do to protect ourselves, and it becomes a habit, whether we're conscious of it or not. Am I at 14 minutes? That thing hadn't started.
It didn't get started.
Somebody going to tell me when I'm out of time? All right. One of the things we do is we hide behind this stuff, and we're not even conscious of it. Ladies and gentlemen, the point of these talks is not the data, it's not the information, it's the ability to create change in other people. So if we're hiding with PowerPoint, whether we're conscious of it or meaning to do it or not, we're taking the very most powerful tool we have in our kit bag as communicators, we're taking it out of the equation. Right? We're no longer present. We're turning it over. By the way, TED has great sort of rules of engagement. The TED commandments, right? The TED commandments, one of them is to talk to people and not to read. The other is not to have tons and tons of PowerPoint so that others aren't forced to read. Because these folks know that if the best way to connect with people and to have impact and to create change, if the best way to do that was with the written word, then we would just post this stuff on the TED website and invite everybody to look at it, right? But the truth is something magic can happen when we get together. And I can see some smiles and some frowns and some sleepy looks and all that stuff's all fine, but I'm right here talking to you, and that's where the magic can happen. How else do we protect ourselves? I got a secret for you. I've been doing what I've been doing now for 20 years. I have had some very visible clients. I'm supposed to be a real expert, and I feel so ignorant about 3/4 of the time. Especially today as I stand up here and talk to you about moving peace forward and advancing peace, I feel incredibly ignorant. And if I'm not careful, I start talking too much. I start bringing in too much data. It's like I'm going to overcompensate by putting, again, sometimes there's lots of stuff up on a slide. Maybe it's lots of pie charts. Maybe it's lots of numbers and graphs. The point is not the evils of PowerPoint, although if you're interested, I wrote an article called How PowerPoint Ruined the U.S. Economy. The point is, words, just too many words can literally keep us from connecting, from doing what we're here to do. I mean, we want to infect each other with the spirit of change and moving this objective forward. We're trying to make something happen. I got another one for you that's really a killer. We protect ourselves by almost working to imagine and to act as if the people that we're talking to literally aren't here. Right? How many of you have heard that you're supposed to make eye contact? Is that something you're familiar with? Watch this, folks. I'm going to make eye contact. Okay? I am making eye contact, but I'm not really seeing anybody. And I'm starting to get a little bit nauseous right now. Across the room. I've had clients who literally said to me, Dan, you know what, I'm not really comfortable with this whole seeing each other thing because it kind of distracts me from my contact. You know, it's when I want to bang my head on the table. The point is not to finish the presentation. The point is to be fully present, to open your heart, you know, to bring everything about you and the quality of this idea and the importance of this idea and share it with people in a way that gets them to change. So I got a little secret for you here. And I want to let you off the hook a little bit. And unless you're a student, maybe we got students here, right? Is anybody going to get a test on any of this stuff? All right, good. Because I don't care if you remember anything that I tell you. In fact, I can't say this for everybody, but I'm not all that concerned about what you take away in terms of what you write down and take notes. Because why am I here? We're here to create change. Right? We're here to move people. And today we're here to move people towards peace. So I'm talking about the choices that we begin to make to, in Robert Thurman's language, to act enlightened, even if we don't feel particularly enlightened, because the process of acting enlightened helps us to become more enlightened and helps the people that we're talking to become more fully present, more in the moment, and more connected. And it's hard, and it takes courage. The last thing I want to share with you about the way we defend ourselves before I encourage you to encourage us a little bit. One of the things that happens is we build habits that are there to protect us from this fear of being fully present, or from the need to be fully present, or from just being unaccustomed to being present when we know it has to be here in order to make it work. We literally, oftentimes, physically begin to protect ourselves. We do all kinds of things that we wouldn't necessarily choose to do if we were actually pulling our own strings. So we literally pull our heart out of the equation, we swallow our words, we stop breathing. You can see what's happening to my energy right now, and suddenly this is not as interesting maybe it was just a minute ago. So we're protecting ourselves from, ironically, the very thing that we're here to do, which is to reach out and connect people and make things change. Have I said that to you enough? So understanding that it's scary, what I'm doing right here, right now. And understanding, if you buy into this, that it is really important that we connect with other people and we help each other along the path and we become a part of the process of creating change and making peace happen, one conversation at a time. And by the way, one conversation means one-on-one or one-on, 150 or 1,000 or however many people there are. Understanding that it's challenging and understanding that it's important, I want to invite you all to be encouraging today. And I'm going to frame that concept for you in a very particular way. Literally, when I say encouraging, I mean loan these folks some heart. Loan these brave presenters some heart. People are going to mess around with their PowerPoint, and the mic's not going to work, and the projector's going to break. Give them a thumbs up. Just bring your own energy up and help us out a little bit. Okay? Because we're trying to make something happen here. We don't get an A for finishing the presentation. We don't get a grade. We either make it happen or we don't. Somebody forgets their content. Again, you have no idea what I'm going to say. You don't know what order I plan to say it in. You don't care about that. But we get all wrapped up in trying to do it exactly right. So again, help us out a little bit. Stay with us. And finally, I really want to encourage you to be as present as you can as listeners, because that is really critical to our ability to move this process forward. So, if I ask you to turn off your cell phones, it's not like you're in a movie theater and you're going to bug people. That's not the point. Although it does bug people, and that's nice too. But it's not just about being polite to people who are in a challenging situation. It's about keeping yourself present enough in the moment that even if you don't remember, to open yourself up to the changes that can happen while we're here together. So help us out and be literally as encouraging as you can as listeners, because what I'm talking about here, some of the choices that I'm talking about here aren't presentation choices. They're communication choices. So what can we do? What can we do to leverage and to begin to practice some of these these technologies of the heart and the mind. I don't think a whole lot of people are going to do this to you this early in the day. Somebody stand up with me real quick. I just want to show you something. Come on. Come on. Get your feet about hip width apart. Not shoulder width, hip width. Your hips are not that apart. Let your arms drop down by your side. Stand up just as tall as you can. Bring your chest up. Bring your chin in just a little bit. Stand up just as tall as you can. And now suddenly, let those hands relax in front of you. There you go. Right? We're not protecting ourselves. We don't have our guard up. We're not trying to hide anything. This is a posture of extraordinary dignity. And it opens us up, makes us even more available to a connection. It's a choice you can make. We can choose to hold ourselves in a way that's open and available. That was great. You guys can sit down right now. I know I'm running out of time. I want to share a couple more choices with you. This is really important. I told you didn't have to remember anything. I want you to remember this. Breathing is good. Breathing is good. You don't have to go into a deep meditation, although that'd be okay too. But breathing is good, ladies and gentlemen. And trust me, your audiences are okay with life-sustaining things, like taking a breath or having a sip of water if needed. But in those silences, you get to listen and you get to think. And in those silences, the people that you're talking to, they get to listen and they get to think. So give yourself permission to pause, to breathe, to exhale, to release tension, to bring yourself back into your own body. Folks, if we open ourselves up, if we bring ourselves fully into this moment, and we open ourselves up to a connection, and we bring our full heart to this opportunity today, together, we don't have to wait for a peace to happen. We can literally begin to build the peace from the inside out. We can actually start to make it happen here today. I think that's really cool. And I think that's really exciting and really fun. So I'm going to leave you with an idea. Be encouraged. Keep your heart open. Stay as present as you possibly can while you're here. Because, again, together we can actually make it happen today as we communicate, as we collaborate, as we build community. I'm trying to put the co back in communication. All right. I don't know where I am in time. I'm sure I'm way over, so I'm going to say good morning, good afternoon, whatever it might be. This is important. Have fun. Have fun. Okay? Encourage each other. Make something happen. Peace.